It's time to take an inside look at those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have one of the most trusted mortgage professionals you'll ever find. He's a top performer, a keynote speaker, a radio host, and author of the book, Lessons from My Grandfather, Wisdom for Success in Business and Life. Thrive Loud listeners, Marc Demetriou. Marc, how are you today?
Excellent, Lou. Thank you. I like that introduction. You can come around with me anytime I go anywhere.
Just bring me around in your pocket, and you could hit play, or you could have me pop out in the woods, and we can work out a rate, basically being your official voiceover. So Marc and I got a chance to meet at a big conference in New York City in October of 2019. And I won't say that I got to hang out with Marc after working an entire day of emceeing and speaking, and then it's possible I had a cocktail or two, but I got to hang out with him, and he's a spectacular individual, and he's got a great story. And I was fascinated when I learned that he wrote this book, Lessons from My Grandfather. So what I actually want to do, let's do a little, tell the world what you focus on in the world that you practice on, and then we'll bleed into a little bit about these lessons that have helped you in your life. Does that sound fair, Marc?
Lessons in general or my business?
Let's start with your business, and then we'll kind of bleed into the lessons.
Perfect. Thank you. So basically at this moment now, for the last 14 years, I'm doing mortgage origination on the East Coast of the United States that we live in. So residential mortgages for 14 years. And prior to that, I was a chief operating officer of a financial company. And so I've been in finances my whole life. So my passion is 14 years working with people and doing all spectacular things for mortgage related business, residential. That's the daily grind and daily activity.
Okay, so now you've done some other things too.
Yes, couple.
And I guess in the success of the career that you've had, you've learned a lot of things and you've put them to use. Try to understand your personal life a little bit. I guess you must have had a really close relationship with your grandfather.
Yes, I did. Thank you. So I will tell you, and we can get into that a little bit as well, of course, is my grandfather's role in my life was truly one of a mentor. So when he retired around 60, I was just about born, ironically, around the same time. So for 37 years of my life, until his passing in 97, he was my grandfather's best friend and mentor. So the guiding light and wisdom and insight I had from this incredible individual that was born in 1909, that went through all the different eras and really the century in a way, had such insight, timeless wisdom, priceless wisdom, ageless wisdom that I was able to really learn from him, at his footsteps, at his knee. So, I was a very blessed individual, and the purpose of my life and how I take on life is just to strive to be excellent and excel whatever I do in life and help people along the way and be a good person. All that good stuff you learn, like, Robert Fulghum's book, what I learned in kindergarten, and Dr. Seuss's, methodologies of just learning to be a good person. But it goes deeper than that because, having the ability to learn from him so much, and my parents were good parents as well, gave me an edge in life. And that's really why I wrote the book, to give back my mentor to the world, to give the insight back to the world.
Let's dig a little into him for a second here. You said, obviously, you retired right around the age that you were born. What did he focus his career on in his life?
Yeah, so he basically, quick backdrop, he left Cyprus, the country of Cyprus, at 16 years old by himself because he wanted to get ahead in life. So he left at 16, went to Greece for 2 years, saved money to come to London. He knew he had to get to America from London, so that's why he went there, saved enough money in London, and came to America 1929, 3 weeks after the stock market crash.
Oh, boy.
So pretty rough time to come here. So, he pretty much started from the streets, polishing shoes, food lines, worked his way into a restaurant to be a busboy. But just fast forward, he pretty much made his career in the hospitality industry. He ended up working his way up, managing facilities, managing institutions. And he ended up his last 20 years of his life, he worked at the Westside Tennis Club in New York, where they had all the U.S. Opens.
Yeah.
So he got to mix and mingle with, the elites, the presidents, the actors, the socialites, and the place he worked before that, managed for 20 years, also had these type of people there. So he was very blessed to be around them all as he was growing up. So he not only learned from all these people, was a sponge, was a great comrade in arms and friend, but then as he got older, he started being a mentor to some of these people as well. So really, it's a very charmed, beautiful life for him. And he made so much money in tips at all these places he worked that he would go some years without even using a dime of his salary. He was always so proud of how hard he worked. He did such a great job that he lived on tips most of the time as well. So it was great.
Now, people in that line of work who obviously deal with this have a great people. They're called people.
Yes,
people
Mr.
person.
Mr. Hospitality, I called him.
Would you say that in trying to capture and summarize the lessons that you learned as it related specifically to the business aspect, not just being successful in life, but the business side, can you share a little bit about some of the lessons that you picked up that might have related into that aspect on how to be a people person?
Yes. Yes. Thank you. And for all the listeners, I mean, you're gifted with it as well. And, some of the people we all know are gifted with it. But if people understand how simple success in life can be, and success isn't about monetary success, it's about success in life and business, having a successful life. One of the most important aspects of being successful is being likable. If you're a likable person and you're a genuine person, that's stage one, step one for everyone in this world. And I hope they listen clearly. It's that simple. If you take 100 people starting a job the same day, or put 100 people in a big event or a big cocktail party, or wherever, if you're likable and you're just an honest person, and you can't tell you're honest, but just a likable person, and you seem like you come across well, and you have no intention of being anyone other than by yourself, it shines through. So I think for him, because he was a genuine person, he was very likable, he was a joyful guy, he was happy, enjoyed life, like that just shined. So wherever he was, and being positive and upbeat. So all these adjectives I'm using, this is what made him succeed in life. Because if he was not a nice person, or mean and nasty and didn't help people in life, he would have never moved up in life. Never would have got an opportunity to go to this job, to go to that job. Charlie, there's something over here. Come on with me to this job. Like, if you have those abilities to be likable, it's you really can't fail if you follow your dreams from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and we'll throw a shout out to my connecting sister from another mister, the lovely Michelle Tillis Lederman, who also speaks about connecting, and she's got a whole bit about being likable, the art of being likable, which is pretty cool, and we've talked about it here on the show. And I know those feelings carry over. I kind of want to ask this question because this is going to help us understand it. It's awesome that you had this amazing mentor who would help you provide all these lessons. Was he more of a show and tell type of person, or was he more of a just kind of tell you the stories of how it was? How did you absorb these lessons that your grandfather shared with you that you were able to put into play?
So that's a good question. So it was a lot of stories, but then he would come out with things and tell me just things in general. So he'd tell me that, Mark, when I was, with my dad, and my great grandfather was a hard worker too. He was the horse and buggy, guy for the island, like taxi cab for the island, but on a horse and buggy. And he would say, my dad would, I'd be with my dad. My dad would always tell me, Charlie, be good to people, work hard, be honest, be genuine, be likable. You'll get ahead in life that way. I don't really make a lot of money. It wasn't about that for me. I have a happy life. I have a joyful life, but I want you to get ahead in life and be something in life. And so that's what made him branch off and do his thing. But I think for me was always these stories. Like he would tell me, he'd just come out. We'd be sitting there, he's smoking his pipe, and he'd be like, Mark, keep in mind as you go through life, your attitude is everything in life. That when you get up in the morning to the time you get up to go to bed, and how you handle the day and how your attitude is, it makes a difference in life. So when you take on life, have the right attitude. You react to things the right way, and just remember when I tell you these things, it makes a big difference. Like he'd tell me things like that,
Right.
And so it was a lot of that, just in general. Like he'd tell me a story about something, and had a great time. And another thing, Mark, in life, just remember to be joyful, enjoy life, enjoy things of life. So it's just always these little antidotes, but stories as well. It was really amazing. He wasn't trying to be a mentor per se, but just kind of the way he was.
This is a great point, by the way, and I love the fact that just you had such access to such a good mentor, but I also love the fact that he was a really hardworking kind of guy. Because I'll share a story. Recently, my son got an opportunity to work in a very hardworking type of environment, but it was in a customer service place, and their number one rule was all about being nice to people. And I recognize how important that is. What I want to try and bridge this to right now is you're a top performer, a mortgage originator, and in this business for quite some time. And you genuinely, for those people, will see the album art of the podcast art, and if ever get a chance to meet Mark, he's one of the most friendliest, smilingest guys you'll ever run across. Very upbeat and open. So what I want to know is, how do you put that likability into the work that you do today?
Thank you for those wonderful remarks. I appreciate that. It means a lot. I feel the same about you as well. So,
We'll go on a date after the show if that works.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. So you know what? So it really comes down to, when you're in a customer service business, and we're all, and I say customer service, we are all in a customer service business, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or a policeman. I don't care what you do. We're all servicing clients. We're all servicing people. If you work, you're servicing the world. So when you realize what you're doing on a daily basis, as opposed to when you're not working, you're here to provide a service. So for me, it's always about just, being the best that I could be. No one's perfect and no one's excellent, but striving for excellence, striving for perfection, striving to be the best you could be, being in the moment of anything you're doing in life, giving it your all. I tell my kids, and they're all, competition things. And I tell my kids, you're going to love this one. If you put 100% effort into everything you do in life, you'll never be disappointed with your results. And that's a powerful statement. And I kind of live my life that way. So for me, it's about just giving my all, paying attention, talking with a smile, the old, the corporate training, talking with a smile in my voice, giving that person all your attention, whatever it is it may be. Whether it's a small client or a large client, they all get the same Marc Demetriou. And I think when you take on life that way and you're a genuine person with no agendas, no ultimatums, I was never one to succumb to peer pressure. And even in high school or college or in grammar school, I was always just that confident person, just to be who you are in life and help other people and be a good person. And, this is a big one from my grandfather, one of my 15 principles in the book, be awake and alive to the suffering of others. It's a powerful statement. He would say things like that to me, that be aware of what's going on around you, be aware of people's problems, keep in touch with them. They're going through a divorce or they have problems or, whatever it may be. I mean, so it's just about that connection, in life. And I know you're very big on connection. That's a lot of your drive. The connections in life that you make, whether it's friends, colleagues, you want to be memorable as a person. Like I was very touched that you remember me as that person already, even meeting you for 2 hours, that I had that connection with you or that ability to have that impact on you, to see that I'm a likable, happy, joyous guy. That's who I am. Whether I have 50 million in the bank or 100,000 in the bank, it doesn't matter. It's about who I am. So long-winded, but I hope I answered your question.
You did. Marc, I want to ask a question. This is your grandfather. Was this your mother's father or your father's father?
Yes, my mother's father.
Mother's father. How is the relationship with you and your mother, and how was the relationship between your mother and your grandfather?
So I happen to be very blessed. I mean, listen, I grew up in a lower middle income family. I've been working since 11 at a paper house since 11 years old. So I don't want people to think I had a silver spoon in my mouth, because I've worked very hard my whole life, just like my grandfather and my parents. My mother, I'll sum it up this way. My dad was he owned a beauty salon. He was the guy, you want to be self-employed. I'm an Eagle Scout, and so is my brother. My dad was very involved in that. So my dad's all about like being a good person. He doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't swear. He works, but it wasn't about, he doesn't live to work. He lives to live. So he was all about, have a job that you're self-employed so you can spend time with your kids and your family and take off when you want. So he was never really driven for money, just wanted a successful life. That's where I get the part about success in life. He has a successful life. My mother was the one driven for money. You could be anything you want in life. You could be president of the United States. You could be a lawyer. You could be a doctor. You're a handsome boy. Like mother was that driving salesy force in a good way. And then my grandfather was just that doting mentor, with just wisdom, unbelievable wisdom. So I was very blessed in that way. So we happen to have a very close family. My parents still married. My grandfather and my mother are very, very close. He was the patriarch of the family. We had happy hour at his house every day. So the man died at like 97. Like literally, hey, you coming over? We're having a happy hour. I'm like, all right, I'll be there. He had his blue cheese, his crackers, his olives, his scotch and water. We all go there. We laugh our asses off. So it was great. That's how we lived life.
So Marc, I love asking this question on the show, and I'm dying to know where this goes. You've got your perspective, which is so important. And no matter what, life throws us curveballs, and we do have off days that we're truly not kicking on all cylinders. When you have trouble thriving, who or what practice do you seek to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Well, listen, I have faith. I have 2 levels of faith that everyone should have, and then I have family and friends. So the first thing I tell everybody, most importantly, is to have faith in yourself as a human being, that faith that things will be okay. That's just inner faith in the future. And then religious faith. I have faith, whatever God you pray to, whether you believe or not believe, you have faith in a higher being, a higher power, that things will work out. So whether you pray or meditate, whatever it may be. So there's that level of it. But then having close comrades in arms. I'm very close to my mother and my father and my siblings, and so I'm very blessed to have a very, very inner core. Not everyone's blessed with that. So I think when you're going through troubling times, you have the inner perspective, the religious side, whether it's you seek counsel with the religious, your pastor or whoever it may be, or friends. But I'm very blessed to have that. I went through a divorce, which I won't get into right now, 4 years ago, which obviously isn't easy for anybody. It's good now. It's amicable, and the kids are great, thank God. The result was the kids really didn't have any effect in the divorce. But that's a big setback in life. That's hard for anybody, no matter who files or not. So things happen in life, and this is one thing I will tell you, is that I speak at a lot of high school and colleges. I make it very clear to these young people, because they're not learning this at all, is that life will be very difficult. Life will be hard at times. There'll be setbacks, tragedies, deaths, disappointments. Like, you need to understand that at a young age, this is what life is. And you need to understand, you need to get through this no matter what, go through it, around it, or over it, and use the support system you have around you. And I learned this from my grandfather, and that was a very big part of life. So this is a great topic, because that's called life. When things are going great, it's going great. Be joyous at those times and be humbled about it. But life will derail you at times. You have to be prepared for that. And I feel the youth of America is not prepared for it. So this is a very topic, very near and dear to my heart. So I get it. And it's a great question.
I think it's also great you're speaking to all these young people, and that actually brings up a good point. And I'm sure it's the impetus, because why you wanted to write this book is to share someone who had this generation and these lessons that you were blessed to have with the rest of the world. To those that don't have access to this and are looking for the mentors out there, or ways maybe they can try to connect even to the other generation of their family if they feel they're getting further apart, what words of advice do you have so that others can seek out to find their mentor, their personal things? What are the tactics? You had it at your fingertips. How do you recommend others that might not have that close-knit bit so that they can go out and achieve something similar like you have?
That's a great question. I love it. Thank you. So, and the reason I wrote this book, and just to hone in very specifically, I had this epiphany 10 years after my grandfather had passed. And I literally it just smacked me in the head. I said, it is a shame that this man is no longer on this earth. He was such an unbelievable individual for me and for anyone that knew him and all the people he helped. I need to share my mentor with the world, to give them the advantage that I had, to give them the mentor that I had, to inspire, motivate, empower them like I have been, to be driven like I have been. So that was the goal, not just to give the mentor or a mentor, but my mentor. So that's why I wrote the book, and the point is, and when I do speak at college or high school, I mention this very specifically, and I tell them, you may all not be blessed with a mentor right now, or maybe your parents, have passed, or maybe your parents are divorced, or maybe the parenting isn't the right model for proper mentors. But you all can find mentors. They're all around you. You don't even realize it at times. But and I tell them they need to ask for help and ask for mentors in a way. So number one, your coaches are mentors. You can ask them for help most of the times in any aspect of your life, and they're there to help you. Your teachers, your counselors, religious people that you're at their church or synagogue, whatever it may be, they're there as well. And then obviously if you have close family or friends, so if we all ask in life, we all can have from 1 to 5 to 10 mentors. They're all in our lives, all around us. Unless you're a hobbit and live in a hole, that's a different story. But I mean, seriously, they're all around us. People don't take the time to ask. And to even further that, I tell people, if you want to excel at sports and you're not excelling, if you want to excel at school and you're not excelling in school, just ask your teacher or coach, how do I get better? How do I improve? They'll tell you the answers. They'll give you the roadmap. People don't do it. So this was a great topic, but it pains me that people aren't achieving success in life or excelling because they either don't know how, or they haven't heard this. As simple as it is.
Well, I'm glad you're on this podcast program today to share with everybody how they could do this. I like the way you're thinking, Mark. Way to go. Giving them tasks and putting our listeners to the task to make sure that they're asking for the help they need. Yes. Way to go. I like it.
Thank you.
Mark, let's do this now. Share with the listeners all the places people can find you. Websites, links to the book, to your site, to anything that you're doing. So we will put it in the show notes, but it always sounds better when it comes from you.
Thank you. Well, I make it very easy in life because everything's Marc Demetriou. So it's my first name is Marc, M-A-R-C, last name Demetriou, D-E-M-E-T-R-I-O-U. So Marc Demetriou, that's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, my website, marcdemetriou.com. And for an Instagram, all that stuff, I mentioned that I think. So my book can be purchased on Amazon. It's the easiest place to get it. It's everywhere, but that's the easiest place. It's in hard copy, soft copy, audio, and ebook. And that's just Amazon, Lessons from My Grandfather, and also the website, grandfatherlessons.com. I have all the information about my book, a free chapter up there. You can just click right through and get purchased right through the website as well.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to wrap here with some fun questions, if you're okay with it. Not that this hasn't been fun already, Mark. I know you love talking about this.
Thank you.
First of all, share with the listeners your all-time favorite movie.
So I have two, if it's okay. I have a lovey-dovey insider, the deep part of me, and then a power one. Okay. So the Notebook, to me, I could watch that I probably watched it 25 times. I just love the love story about the Notebook. It's a very powerful, moving, connecting. I don't need to go through the movie, but that's one of my favorite love, softy, romantic movies.
Gotcha. For
a lot of reasons. And I'm a big power alpha actor, like, Patriot, Gladiator, all the power figures, some movies like Troy and Alexander the Great. But honestly, I do really like Gladiator a lot for the purpose of the Russell Crowe, how he went from being a general to a slave and then came back and did what he did. So he just it's a power figure movie. I love the movie for a lot of reasons.
That was the last movie I saw before my son was born. We almost named him Maximus, but we didn't.
I love it. I'm telling you, it's powerful, very moving, very powerful. I feel so invigorated whenever I watch those power movies. I just feel like I conquer the world.
Awesome. I like it. I'm a big fan of Gladiator here. All right. So we're going to wrap this show here with a good question. And I guess if your grandfather were here today and he were to see all you've accomplished since his passing in the last several years, or over 10 years, I guess, at this point, what would you like to say to him?
I would say that I've continued to follow the model and the lessons that he's taught me in my life, and and keep honor in my legacy of my ancestors, and really move forward in life, making a name for ourselves and being memorable, and being as good of a person I can every day. And hope I made you proud. He thought of me as a son he never had. Literally, everyone knew that. So, because he only had two daughters. So, I think I've always honored him and always had his respect from a young boy, and I don't think I've ever let him down. So, I don't think he'd be disappointed right now.
Marc Demetriou, he certainly wouldn't be disappointed. Just to see you smile like the way you do would be enough for anybody. But to know the stuff you're doing and the message you're sharing, I think is spectacular and to be commended, and why you're on Thrive Loud today. Thank you, Lou. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. And to all our Thrive Loud listeners out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond. Now that you've heard this amazing episode, you really need to subscribe and hear all our episodes. Head on over to thriveloud.com and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Thrive Loud. Thanks for listening.